This is Colin Cattell with Palisade Capital Radio, and we are talking with Bob Moriarty, founder of 321gold.com. Bob, thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to be here with us today.
Sure. Thank you, Colin.
Bob, we've known each other for some 13 years now, and you have an extensive background following the precious metals and junior resource sector. I think people have trouble grasping what drives valuations in the sector. Can you explain how sentiment is actually one of the main drivers behind valuations for these companies?
I'm not sure that it's accurate to say sentiment is the main driver. I think it would be more accurate to say sentiment is the only driver. At every market top, no matter what the commodity, every fundamental reason in the world says buy, and at every market bottom, there's 100 reasons to sell. The only thing that is consistently accurate is sentiment. And certainly, I think we're seeing it in the gold and silver sector now, where the sentiment is worse in the last 6 months than it's been in history. And we're in the process of making a major bottom. And yet there's still 100 fundamental reasons to sell. And you can go read 50 guys say why gold and silver are going lower. Well, where were these guys when the silver was at $49 an ounce in April of 2011?
Now, Bob, that's an interesting point. A lot of guys in the industry are suggesting to buy only the best companies, companies that are cashed up, companies with significant resources in the ground. You, on the other hand, have said that you are also buying up the real penny stocks, companies that have been beaten and valuations, market caps might be around $1 million at this point. Can you talk to me about your strategy on that?
Okay, and just because I do something doesn't mean I recommend it for everyone. It would not be suitable for a lot of people. If you can't afford to lose 100% of your investment in a particular stock, don't buy it. But I am buying stocks at 2 cents, 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents that I believe can go up 15 or 20 fold. Now, here's what's going to happen. If I'm correct, and if we've seen a bottom, the first stocks that are going to go up are going to be the top quality mid-tier companies with solid resources, money in the bank, and good management. And that, in fact, is what's happening. And there's a lot of stocks that are up 50% in the last 6 weeks. That's what tells me that we're at a bottom. The little tiny penny piece of crap stocks haven't started to move yet, but they will. And let me give you an example. Canico did a financing in late 2008 at 6 cents, and they literally doubled the number of shares they had overnight. But they had an exciting property in East Africa that they actually overhyped, and the stock went from 6 cents to $6. There are going to be a lot of companies, and I have to put this proviso in, there's going to be a lot of companies that do the same thing. They're up 10-fold, 20-fold, 50-fold, 100-fold if they survive. So you need to decide, do you want to invest in something like Amadon, which is absolutely a top-tier company, or something like Northern Lion that's selling for I think 2.5 cents a share and has a $1 million market cap. If Northern Lion actually survives, they could be a $25 or $50 million stock. And the issue is, will they survive or not? What investors need to understand is when the wind's high enough, even the turkeys fly.
Since you've been following this roller coaster of junior stocks for several years now, what kind of gains can we expect across the sector moving forward? Are we talking about life-changing gains or something smaller than that?
No, I absolutely believe life-changing gains. Let's go back to 2001. Some of the smartest guys in the business were saying gold was going to go down to $200 an ounce. The industry was on the verge of total collapse. There were 100 companies selling for less than the cash they had on hand. It was an utter disaster, and the chance of gold going to zero and the industry disappearing was very real. The gains were 1,000%. And then you go back to 2008, and I think gold got down to $690 an ounce, it seems to me. And everybody was losing money, but there were a lot of companies selling for less than the cash they had on hands, and stocks recovered, and many stocks were up 500% to 1,000%, but everybody was up 100 or 200%. The mere fact that even though everybody still believes we have not hit bottom, there's 24 companies that I know of that are up 50% in the last 6 weeks. I think 100%, 200%, 300% return is going to be on the low side.
And what about any specific sectors? Are precious metals the best place you see right now, or is a niche sector like graphite or uranium set to explode?
I am very prejudiced against uranium. I think that Fukushima is still totally out of control. I think it's far more dangerous than anybody realizes. It has the potential for being an extinction event. And I think that when we count up the number of people who were killed as a result of Fukushima, we're going to realize that there is no safe use for uranium. So it's an opinion on my part, but I personally would not put a cent into uranium, because even if it did succeed, it's not money that I want to make anymore. I wouldn't invest in a military industrial complex, because I don't want to make money from those kind of investments. Graphite has been way overdone, and I think there's 50 or 100 companies in the graphite sector, and there's room for two or three. But this is exactly what happens. One sector gets hot, and then another sector gets hot, and then another sector gets hot. I would far rather invest in solid management with good projects in stable countries.
Okay, and shifting gears a bit, I want to discuss internationalizing and protecting against political risk. This is obviously something you take quite seriously, as you've picked up and moved to the Caymans a few years ago. Do you see the trend of an overpowerful government accelerating from this point?
Absolutely. The United States government has the mechanism in place to become a totalitarian government overnight. And in fact, they may have already done that, and we haven't even woken up to it. I think that Hastings was assassinated. I think that the FISA court issued an 88-page document that said that what the NSA was doing was illegal and unconstitutional, and the government doesn't care. The government of the United States is totally out of control and is the biggest danger to Americans today. They have declared a war on Americans, and that can only end badly.
I want to end today with you with a short story that most people are unaware of. You were a highly decorated fighter pilot back in Vietnam, and I have a video clip here that I'm going to show that shows you, an airplane, and the Eiffel Tower. Would you care to share how this came to pass?
Well, I was in Paris for an air race for about 20 years. I delivered airplanes all over the world. And there was an air race from Paris to Libreville in Gabon. And we took off from Paris. We would have won the race, but we had mechanical difficulties with the airplane. We went back to Paris. And the guy who was financing the trip was the president of French Aero Club, and he said, "Hey, I've got a really great idea. Why don't we fly under the Eiffel Tower?" And I said, "Well, yeah, that would be cool, but it's already been done." And he said, "No, everybody thinks it's been done. Actually, it hasn't." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Tell you what we'll do. You do it, because you're a lot better pilot than I am, And then 6 months later, I'll take the credit for it. And I thought, how very French of him. But it actually was a very easy thing to do. There was no danger to it. It was far easier than landing on an aircraft carrier. And it was one of those things like climbing Mount Everest. Everest. It needed to be done.
So there it is, Bob. You're the first person that flew under the Eiffel Tower, and has anybody else done it at this point?
Somebody, I got a phone call, I think, in 1989 from the French ambassador to the United States. And he asked me, "Did you fly under the Eiffel Tower a week ago?" And I said, "No. Why would I do that?" And he said, "Well, you did it before." And I said, "Well, you only need to do it once." But somebody did it, I think, in 1989. They never have been able to identify who it was.
Okay, Bob. Well, thanks so much for giving us your time and sharing that story with us. And hopefully we'll catch up sometime soon.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Colin.